Hi Lawson, it's been a busy and productive day on your car. Got some of your chassis bits there ready to go back on, and I've gotten a fair bit done on the frame today. So rear suspension is in, all bar the rear spring, shock absorbers and whatnot. I'll get the brake lines and calipers and everything on before we get into that. So that's the rear end pretty much sorted, and then front end we've got the upper A-arms and front hubs hanging there. The front hub assemblies are a later pair now. I don't know if you remember, there was the problem with the spindle on the I can't remember whether it was left or right hand side now, but one spindle had been obviously had some damage and had some weld put on it and then filed down to try and make the round again. And the wheel bearing was a bit loose on it, and I think probably wouldn't have caused any problems, but you don't like putting things like that back on. So I've been looking around for another 68 spindle. I don't have one here, and I've been looking in the States, and there's been a couple on eBay over there. My suppliers in the States didn't have anything. I did see a couple on eBay in the UK as well. But I must admit, I'm very, very nervous about what you wind up with. The ones that have been for sale in the States, you never know what you're going to get. They seem to tell you something is good, and then it turns up and it's got knackered threads or whatever. The guys in the UK will sell you just about anything, good, bad or indifferent. So I just didn't want to go that route, and in the end I've wound up using a pair of later spindles that I had here, which needed stripping and cleaning and what have you. We've stripped those, cleaned them, painted them, and rebuilt those now with new disc backing plates. I've got the later hubs there with new bearings ready to go in. The racers are all installed now, and we just need to drop the new grease and drop the new bearings in. And I feel it may be a bit more of an expensive way around it, but one that I feel an awful lot happier with in every respect. We know exactly what we've got. They're also, they are heavier duty, so that can't be a bad thing, can it? They changed the bearings in 1969 to a bigger bearing. I guess they were running wider wheels by that time, which you've got on yours. So I think this is all to the good. It's just a bit of a pain that it's had to be done, but there you are. So yeah, that's that side of it. Tomorrow we'll get the lower A-arms on and the front coils in, and get the steering gear back on and get the front, signed off. On the rear, everything has gone reasonably well. These are your trailing arms rebuilt now, so your original bearing carriers and disc backing plates on there. No, actually, I tell a lie, we replaced one. And then you've got new spindles, new handbrake internals, new bearings, obviously, and seals, and a new disc brake backing plate. There are also new trailing arms, because yours were rotten, if you recall. And they're in there nicely now with stainless steel shims for the toe-in and what have you. We've put new UJs in your replacement drive shafts, and they're your original strut rods in there, but with new lower shock mounts. Now that's your original differential, and that's been rebuilt so that's had a new bearing kit put in, and also new limited slip clutch pack in there as well. New front bearing, new side yoke bearings, new seals everywhere, so that's all fully done. So that's all going well. I've put new fixings everywhere, new fasteners, and I've also used a set of new rear spring bolts that are slightly longer, so we can dial in the right height at the rear to match the front a bit better. So that's all the good news. Now let me show you the bad news. And they're your A-arms that we rebushed some time ago. Now, we were going to reuse your calipers and shock absorbers, and we got them out this morning to give them a bit of a clean. And I must confess, I can't remember which ones are which now, but these are the two rears, and they look like they have been replaced at some point, albeit a long time ago. And they've been replaced, and I've seen these sort of plated calipers before, and they're a real cheapo thing. But if you look just in here, you can see there's a bit of seal sticking out, and it's all a bit ropey looking. It was quite wet round here, and this one, there was a bit of dampness. If you look down, I don't know how well this will show up, but if you look down between the pads and the pistons, there's a bit of dampness in there as well. That one is a more recent replacement, but you know, still from some time ago. I mean, look at the flexi hoses, everything's knackered. And this one is as old as the hills, and you can see all in there where the pistons are all gummed up and gunked up, and the brake fluids made the paint off the back of the pads all leak out. Anyway, I don't want to use those. We were going to initially just re-kit the two rear ones, but then we saw the problems with the fronts as well, and so no, we're going to replace all four. So that's what we're doing. Now, your shock absorbers, we're going to give these just a quick clean, and a coat of paint. And if I just compress that one, that's pretty tough and springs back up nicely like it should. This one goes down a lot easier and stays down, and the same with the fronts. We've got one that has got some decent pressure. No, not that one. So that one stays down, and this one, yeah, this one's a lot tougher to compress, and that one returns nicely like it should. So typically we've got one front, one rear, no good. So we're going to put new shocks on as well. It's a shame, because it was about the only thing of the original car left that I thought we'd gotten away with, but it is what it is, and you know, do it once and do it right. That's the motto. So there's your new calipers, new pads. So they're there, ready to go on. We're already going to put new flexis on. Oh, that's the other thing. We started to clean the discs as well, and we've cleaned the front discs and given them a coat of black just to smarten them up a little bit, and they feel okay. The rear ones were quite pitted and quite manky inside, so we're replacing the rear discs as well. So I'm sorry, but there you are. It's I kind of look at it, it's what I'd have done if it was my own car, and you know, that's how you got to be, really, isn't it? But yeah, all looking very, very nice. You know, when it's all back and together, we've got new brake lines to go on, new fuel lines to go on. I think you've got a new gas tank, haven't you, from memory? So that will go on as well. I'm hoping to have this back on its wheels tomorrow. If the weather stays nice, we'll wax oil it, or give it the wax treatment as well, and then all being well, we should be able to get the engine and transmission back in towards the end of the week, and have you looking something like. So there you are. I'll get this online so you can have a look and do a bit more for you when it's all completely back together. Take care.